I was born and raised in Guatemala City. I moved to the U.S. a month before turning 20. My grandparents on my mom's side, they moved to the U.S. when I was probably about 8. And then they claimed my mom, and since my brother and I were minors, we were included in that petition. A lot of people think of Guatemala and they think of like very rural, which most of it is, but I actually come from a pretty large city. Guatemala City is over 2 million people. And I think I actually gained a lot more perspective of my culture once I moved away from it. My grandmother on my dad's side, she was actually from Ohio. And she moved to Guatemala in her early 20s to teach English, and she met my grandpa, and they got married and she never left. So my grandmother actually passed away in Guatemala in her mid-90s. And I think that I was raised with her in my life. She spoke English to me since I was a baby, and she was an English teacher, and she was a very traditional woman, and she cooked a lot. And so I had the stereotypical, grandma with the white hair and blue eyes that baked cookies, and then my grandma on my mom's side was a lot more traditional Guatemalan food, which they still cook like that. So if I go to Wisconsin and I stay with my grandmother, it's kind of like being home, because she cooks exactly the same way that she would have cooked in Guatemala. We eat a lot of beans and tortillas, which of course are not the same here. We make tortillas. Tortillas are still made by hand in Guatemala. A lot of people think of spicy food when they think of Guatemalan food, and it's actually not at all. We don't cook spicy. There's always spice on the side that you can add to your food. We don't cook dishes for the most part spicy. A lot of seafood, so I grew up with a lot of seafood available. So ceviche, enchiladas, which are completely different in Guatemala and Mexico. I remember probably first week of college, I lived in the dorm, so I ate at the dining hall, and I remember walking in and seeing the menu, and I was struggling with dining hall food, and it said enchiladas in the menu. I was like, perfect. When I walked up and I saw them, I thought, these are not enchiladas. They've got it wrong. Our enchiladas are actually a tostada that is layered with a slice or a wedge of iceberg lettuce, and then on top goes a mix of ground beef and vegetables, like green beans and carrots, and then topped with almost like a pickled salad of cabbage and beets, so it's all purple, and then a slice of hard-boiled egg.
Yeah, that's way different.
And a sprinkled like dry cheese on top. So yeah, that did not look at all like an enchilada. For us in Guatemala, quesadilla is actually a sort of cake, like cheesecake, but it's not custardy, it's like bread. When people talk about traffic, you have no idea what traffic is until you live in a city like Guatemala. So I learned how to drive in Guatemala, and I really had to tone down my my driving impulses when I came here. And yeah, sometimes when it still comes out of me, I remind my husband, like, hey, I learned to drive in Guatemala. It was very different. I really give a lot of credit to my grandparents for bringing us. My grandparents both worked custodial jobs until they retired late in their 80s, late 70s and 80s. And they had 2 other children, my 2 uncles, and they paved the way for all of them and all of their grandkids. And they paid for it and waited years and supported, my family, my mom, and my brother and I a lot to get to where we are today. So I feel very proud of that, and I like to recognize that I'm Latina, and some people say that I don't have much of an accent, and that sometimes it comes out when I'm mad or I'm heated up in a discussion. And in my job, it's especially nice because I get to connect with families. So when I'm here and I see I feel like Latina moms are pretty feisty, and we see it often with a shy student that is here with their mom, and mom is trying to get their student to speak up and ask questions, and I'll kind of interject with speaking to them in Spanish, and their face just lights up, and just being able to create that connection for them and making them feel like it's easy, because I see what they're doing. They're here trying to help their child do better than they were able to do, and give them opportunities that they didn't have. And so being able that more accessible for them. And there's a few people on my team that are Latinos as well that like to do that, and I love that we have the opportunity here at work.